The Chicago Bulls have to overcome the return of Nikola Vucevic to the starting lineup today, and he has one of the most negative impacts you will ever see by a starter in a game. We're going to talk about it, but the Bulls do get a win off a big night from Coby White. We're going to talk about it all and more, but you know what we got to do first? We got to play that intro and pray for Nikola Vucevic's family.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, hosted by Haize, your number one spot for all things Chicago Bulls.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And I'm about to cook Nikola Vucevic with stats. That's what I'm about to cook Nikola Vucevic with. But with that said, first, before we get into the cooking, let's talk about the positive. Coby White, 12 of 24 today with 31 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. Coby White was the engine that helped the Chicago Bulls go scoring-wise today, but you cannot overlook big contributions from Tre Jones with 18 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Also, Kevin Huerter with 8 points, 9 rebounds in this game. Big shots made by Kevin Huerter in this game as well. 16 points from Julian Phillips. Julian Phillips, who was the first player off the bench for the Chicago Bulls today, playing that six-man row, 16 points off the bench, going 5 of 10 from the field with 7 rebounds, 5 assists. It's amazing what young players can look like when you actually give them a chance as well. You also got Patrick Williams with 10 points. I got to give Patrick Williams credit today. Didn't always bring it scoring-wise, even though he went 4 of 8 from the field, but Patrick Williams was active today. It's a really night and day difference from Patrick Williams in the first game of his return to the second game in his return. Got to give him credit today. Listen, shout out to Zach Collins for showing us what it's like to have a center that gives goddamn effort in a game on both sides of the ball, even when they don't necessarily have the best skill. Zach Collins played amazingly well for the Chicago Bulls, man. Modest Bucilis, only 6 points today, but he had a big dunk tonight, played with some good energy at times, had some good defensive assignments and rotations. But I said I was going to cook, and I'm going to cook with stats, right? Not feelings, just stats, right? But let's go ahead and get into this. Nikola Vucevic played 22 minutes and 59 seconds today. 22 minutes and 59 seconds. I'm cooking with stats here. No personal opinion. We'll get to the personal opinion later. The Bulls were -9 in that time and a -23.2 net rating. They had an offensive rating of 120, and a defensive rating of 143. Keep in mind, the higher defensive rating is actually worse. When Nikola Vucevic was off the court today, the Chicago Bulls had a positive net rating of +15. They were plus-minus of +15, a net rating of +30, an offensive rating of 124, and a defensive rating of 94. What does that tell you? We were 50 defensive rating points worse when Nikola Vucevic was on the court. You know why? Because the motherfucker doesn't give fucking effort. So let's be clear here. Nikola Vucevic almost single-handedly torpedoed the Chicago Bulls defense and pace today. Why? Because he doesn't give effort. Why? Because he can't move his feet. I know he's coming back from injury. I get that. I understand that. And there's a little bit of leeway given in that. But you cannot be actively hurting your team and expect to be given some leeway. Sit his ass down. Jalen Smith is 100% healthy and is sitting down today while you're starting a slew-footed center that absolutely played like absolute garbage. Garbage. Nikola Vucevic has to go. That's it. If anybody needed any other affirmation to why Nikola Vucevic does not fit where the Chicago Bulls are going, look no further than this. A team that's been playing with energy, a team that's been playing connected, a team that's been given effort defensively. You cannot come in and make your team 50 points worse defensively. 50. 50. Let's be clear here. That's like walking into your job. Walking into your job. Let's say you work for $1 million company. You walk into your job, and every time you walk in, you cost them $200,000. But every time you're gone, they make an additional $400,000. What company would keep you on at that point in time? What company would keep you on? Nikola Vucevic, it's time. It's gone. I'm sure there are a lot of teams that can absolutely help him, but it's time to go. It's time to go. Nikola Vucevic is not good for this team. Zach Collins isn't even a good defender. Like I said it before, he's an active defender. He's a guy that gives a damn. He gives effort. He actually goes over screens. You can't just play him in drop coverage. You see the impact that why personnel matters. Do you see that? Do you now see that for anybody that doubted why having the right personnel that matches your scheme and the rest of your roster is important? If you miss that, this is the perfect example of why. And like I said, Nikola Vucevic can still help teams. He can still go out there and get double-doubles. He can do all that, I'm sure. And a little bit of this has to be because he's hurt a little bit. But 50-point defensive differential worse when you're on the court? Come on, man. Come on, bro. What are we doing, bro? Like you got to get it together. And some of Josh Giddey not being out there, but that's why I'm looking specifically at Vooch's on-off numbers. I'm just looking at that specifically. Yes, missing Josh Giddey did have an impact today as well. But you got to sit Nikola Vucevic's ass down, because just having a center that just moves their feet and gives effort completely makes this team look like a different defensive team. Completely defensively. In Nikola Vucevic's minutes today, the Bulls went right back to looking like the team they were at the beginning of the season. Right back to looking like that team. So when you have to overcome your double center, your guy, I think, what is he, third in the league in double-doubles this year? But you have to overcome his return to the starting lineup. Why is he in the starting lineup? Why is he? Somebody tell me that. Why is a center that had fallen out of the rotation in San Antonio and Zach Collins coming in and instantly giving you more effort and more positive impact? And yet you got another young center in Jalen Smith who's been nothing but positive defensively for you, and he's not getting any minutes. I get it that Billy Donovan is tied to his veterans. I get it that Nikola Vucevic is making $20 million. I get all of that. But all that be damned, if you're telling us that you're out there trying to win basketball games, you got a long way ahead of you to try to explain why Nikola Vucevic is going to continue to, if this continues. Let's say it takes 3 to 5 games for him to get back in rhythm. Cool. Let's say that that's what the case is here. But I'm telling you right now, overall, Nikola Vucevic actively hurt this team, and it's disgusting to watch. It's disgusting to watch a team that has done so much in fixing the heart problem that we've seen from this team for the last 4 months. They've done so good at fixing it over the last 20 or so games for Nikola Vucevic to come back and immediately torpedo it back. When Patrick Williams is more active than you are, you got to ask yourself some serious questions there, my friend. And so I feel like we're having the same conversation that we had towards the end of last season, where Nikola Vucevic got hurt and returned back, and he was absolutely trash over the Bulls' last 12 to 15 games. It's about to happen again. And it sucks because now we have younger players that are stepping up and playing like absolute studs, but Nikola Vucevic is playing like crap. No effort. None. Vooch got a D plus on defense, bro. He got a F minus on defense today, bro. And the F is for him not giving a fuck. That's just, listen. And people are trying to kill Josh Giddey for his defense. Josh Giddey's his least active. He's going to make some mistakes. He's going to get cooked sometimes. But, man, listen. All right, let's get back into the positive. I cooked Nikola Vucevic. If you're one of Nikola Vucevic's ancestors are descendants and you try to come find me, fuck you. How about that? But with that said, let's talk about this game, right? Let's get into more details with the game. This game started off in the first quarter. The Brooklyn Nets came out and went initially on a 14-6 run. And that felt like, okay, what are the Bulls doing? The Bulls immediately respond with a 20-7 run themselves. And then it goes back and forth until the Bulls finish that first quarter on a 4-0 run, right? And I think that's really shows the fight of this team. The Bulls then come out of the second quarter, out of the first half into the second quarter, immediately go on a 7-4 run. The Brooklyn Nets, to their credit, go on another 16-5 run and a 5-0 run to finish off the second quarter to be up by 3 at the end of the first half. And then the Nets come out still after being up 3 at the end of the first half. They start off the second half on a 12-4 run in this game. And it was this time where it felt like the Bulls were about to shit the bed. The Bulls then go on a 3-2 run. The Nets finish the third quarter on a 10-6 run. It's 92-82 at the beginning of the fourth quarter. But God and Coby, the Chicago Bulls woke up. A 15-3 run to start off the fourth quarter, and then another 14-4 run in the middle of the fourth quarter. That sealed it. That was it. The Chicago Bulls ended up winning this game. And the performance that this team had, the way that this team played with heart, once Nikola Vucevic sat his big ass down, it was night and day difference, right? Nikola Vucevic didn't play a single minute in the fourth quarter of this game. And I got to give Billy Donovan credit because he saw the problem with Nikola Vucevic and he said, you know what, Vooch, we good, right? Now, I know Vooch also had a minutes restriction, so that probably is the biggest reason why he didn't play Vooch in the fourth quarter. But you love to see the way the team battled in today's game. The Bulls outscored the Brooklyn Nets 34-18 in the fourth quarter to end up winning this game by 6 points. You need every bit of that from this team, and it was really good to see. The Bulls won a lot of the kind of hustle stats. Points in the paint, we won that by 4, 58-54, which is really good. We had 36 points off the bench, 19 fast break points to only 5 for the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets did have 16 second chance points, and that makes sense. They out-rebounded us by 3. It was a larger margin the first half of this game. And also, shout out to the Chicago Bulls for only having 1 turnover in the second half of this game. 1 turnover in the second half of this game is what the Chicago Bulls had. 1 turnover. That's major, man. That's really major to only turn the ball over 1 time in the second half of this game. And it's really good to see this Bulls team be able to fix what they did from the first half to the second half and seal this victory. Now, I know my pro-taking fans, Matt Peck's probably throwing his hat now over on CHGO. Shout out to my boy Matt Peck. But the tank is done, right? I've told you guys this for years. This is not a team that's going to tank. And that gets proven more and more every day. If you're still holding out hope that this Bulls team is all of a sudden going to start tanking, you got to wake up. It's not going to happen. It's just not happening in this game. And, that's it's not going to happen in this season. The Bulls aren't going to be a tanking team. They're trying to fight today. You know what I liked about the game today as well? Coby White scored 31 points, but he also created 10 points off assists today, which is really good. 4 assists, 10 points. He only had one bad pass turnover, 3 turnovers overall. I like that from Coby White. Turnovers are going to happen. He isn't the most efficient player as far as limiting turnovers, but when you can only have 1 turnover that's rated as a bad pass, that's some good things. Tre Jones in this game. Let's talk about Tre Jones. 14 points created off assists today, which is really good for Tre Jones. But outside of that, he had 18 points today, which is always going to look good on the stat sheet, especially when you only got 12 shots to get there. But Tre Jones is such a point guard, man. He's just such a – I tell you what, if the Bulls do move Lonzo this offseason, or had they moved Lonzo at this trade deadline, I know initially people would have been looking like, what are we going to do to replace Lonzo? Tre Jones is somebody that I would love to see stay on this team. It's going to still be very hard to keep him on this team, but Tre Jones just continues to just step up in every way. And I said coming into this game how him and Coby are going to perform as a backcourt together, and they performed pretty damn well today. 18 of 36 today shooting with those two guys combined. 4 49 points, right? Which is really good. So they combined for 18 of 36 shooting for 49 points, 14 rebounds, 10 assists, 4 steals. That's a backcourt, y'all. That's a backcourt. That's a pretty damn solid backcourt on top of that, right? So this is what the Bulls are doing over this stretch is going to be frustrating for a lot of people, especially the people that want to see the Chicago Bulls tank, right? But it's just like it's good to see young players playing with the heart that you want to see them from, right? It just is. It's just good seeing young players figure it out, fight, compete, play with heart, and just leave it all out there on the basketball court. And that's what this team is doing right now. I know it's coming at a time in a very deep draft where a lot of Bulls fans are all focused on lottery balls, right? After the trade deadline and the trade of Zach LaVine, naturally a lot of Bulls fans thinking went from how this team is performing on the court to lottery, right? And so that adjustment to get back into looking and evaluating a team for how it's playing basketball is hard for some people. Now, I'm not saying what's right or wrong. That's between you and the guy that you serve to figure that out. But I am saying this, like, if this team started off, let's say we started off with this roster, and this team was fighting and competing this way, most Bulls fans would be celebrating. They'd be celebrating Coby White coming out of his slump. They'd be celebrating Josh Giddey looking like he's figuring it out. They'd be celebrating us getting some underrated assets in Zach Collins, Kevin Huerter, and Tre Jones that are vastly outperforming what most people thought that they would bring to this Bulls team. But because it came at a time where everybody, and we came into the season as well with the mindset of we got to be bottom 10 to keep our pick. We got to be bottom 10 to keep our pick. So that paired with the trade deadline has now led a large section of Bulls fans to still be focused on lottery, right? And I get it. I understand it. I sympathize with that, right? But when you look at the player element, because your team is made up of players, not lottery balls. When you look at the player element, the components of this team, how can you be mad at your rookie starting and getting that opportunity, gaining opportunity in reps and those type of things? Your player in Coby White, who should have been most improved player of the year, improving his play. Kevin Huerter, Tre Jones, Zach Collins performing well for you. Hell, we got a game where Julian Phillips made a key bucket for the Chicago Bulls. He led the team in plus minus at plus 19. He scored 16 points. He went 4-4 from the free throw line, 5 assists, 7 rebounds. That's another player that people are looking at to see what he can bring. How can you be mad at the players, right? Fuck the organization for right now. How can you be mad at the players for How can you be mad at the players for developing? How can you be mad at that? And that's what a question that a lot of people are going to have to ask themselves. I get it. I understand the desire for lottery balls because you hope that those lottery opportunities are going to turn into the Bulls' next star, right? But then the organization should have put this team in a worse position because you got fighters here. You got dogs here. And you got a head coach in this building that's going to coach these guys to try to win every single game that's in front of them the rest of the season. How can you be mad at that, right? It's not Kobe's job to make sure the Bulls get a higher draft lottery. It's not Kobe's job to make sure to save AK's ass so he can get a young star here in the draft because he's drafted like shit. It's not Kevin Huerter's job to do that. It's not Tre Jones' job to do that. It's not Modest Vucevic' job to do that. It's up to the front office to go out and find the talent to continue to upgrade this team. The young players, and I said this before in a video, please stop conflating you being upset at the organizational incompetence with the players' development. Stop conflating those two things. This organization and AK and Eversley have run this team like absolute shit, right? A lack of focus, a lack of drive, a lack of whatever you want to talk about to get to where you need to go. That's not on these players. It's these players' job to go out there and put it all on the court. It's these players' job to go out there and try to win every game in front of them. You want these guys to play bad so you can draft their replacement? What kind of world are we sitting at right now? right? I don't understand the people that are taking their frustration out with the organization on the players that are doing their job. And that's what's happening right now. These players are doing their job. That's it. I don't know what to say on that one, right? I don't know what to say there because you're mad at the players for doing their job. Their job isn't to go out there and tank for you. Their job's not going out there to get the number one overall pick. Their job is to go out there and try to compete in a basketball game. So I mean that's just let me get off my high horse. Let's see how you guys are feeling. I would have never have thought Jones, Collins, and Huerter would be closing for the Bulls, but that shit looks good. Absolutely, fam. Absolutely. What I tell you, Haize, the Bulls are hot. 4-game winning streak is crazy. I believe Coach gave the keys to Coby and Giddey. That's why they're balling out. I mean, we have seen over the last 2 or 3 games before this, Coby and Giddey really starting to figure out their momentum for sure. Vooch hedges towards the paint too often to rebound, not boxing out as well at times, and all that bad switches leading to giving up tons of offensive rebounds. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Please keep Tre. Bulls do whatever you can to keep him. I'm glad Billy recognized that Zach had the hot hand. Absolutely. Absolutely. So happy for Julian Phillips. Great on both ends and gets rewarded by closing out. Yeah, listen, shout out to because Billy Donovan hasn't always done that, right? He's not always rewarded the young players with an opportunity to close out games, even if they are playing decent, right? Bro, I'm waiting for the Cooking with Haize episode where you string together the best cooking you've done of players and posters all year. That's hilarious, man. Once before, you were right about Tre Jones. We got to keep him. He should be back up to Giddey. Listen, if you got Tre Jones and a Josh Giddey as a 1-2 punch as your point guards, with Coby and Ayo on the team, I'm not mad at that at all, man. Coby White, 7 straight games with 24 plus 4-game winning streak. That's crazy. Tre the truth. I don't care if we don't move Lonzo. I still sign him to a 4-year deal. Hey, I feel you. I feel you. When is everyone playing with energy? Damn, that's so fun to watch, even if we lost the game. Facts, right? 100%. 100% there. 100%. Tre Jones can ball. He missed a layup and next possession said, fuck it, I'm getting this bucket back. Next drive and scored. He's got that competitiveness to him. He's a point guard. Shay, Haize, I know this may sound stupid, but I don't believe the Bulls organization was necessarily sure about Jones. That's why they re-signed Lonzo Ball. That doesn't sound stupid at all. I don't think that's a stupid statement. I really think that you're probably right on that one, right? Pro tanking fans can expect professional basketball players to lose in order for their replacement to be drafted. That's not going to happen. You're 100% right there. Zay over in the building says, I was sure we was losing this game. Haize, I was about to cut it off. Then this is our 4th win. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Although Billy Donovan may not use this for the starting lineup, this is a lineup that will like a friend would try. Zach Collins, Jalen Smith, Manas Busilis, Coby White, Josh Giddey. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that lineup heavily before, and yet it's very unlikely that Billy Donovan uses that lineup, man. Haize, this may be crazy, but I believe Josh resigns. I believe him and White can be a good backcourt together. Let's see. Let's see. Billy alluded to this when he said, you don't even know if that pick will be any good. That's a fact. Haize, I haven't seen you excited for a long. Oh, you must have not been watching some live streams, bro. I've been excited over the last couple of games, but I'm just pissed off. It's not at the team, right? I'm just pissed off at some partially at some fans, partially at Nikola Vucevic performance, right? Bulls, Chicago Bulls is putting out a team that should be losing, but somehow we won 4 games in a row. But I love how the guys are looking. Can't be mad at it. Big facts there. Too often, media narratives can drive fans. Man, listen, bro. I say that over on Bear Central. Don't let the media takes, rumors, whatever you want to call it, become your opinion, right? Don't do that. And that happens with a lot. We've all been victim to them at times, right? So I'm not gonna, elitist, right? But we all have it. But we got to be better. There's too much information that's easily accessible at our fingertips for us to continue to allow the national media to form our opinions, right? You can let it be part of it, right? But to form it completely, no, we got to stop that, yo. Tanking breeds bad habits. Guys get too used to losing, being okay, and becoming mentally soft. Look at Embiid. Well, Embiid's physically soft, so that's a point there as well. Haize was the first half of the season the bottom, and now is the rise of the Bulls, or is there another dip in performance? We'll see. We'll see, right? We'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens there. Do you want them to play bad so the Bulls can draft their replacement? Haize, that's some real shit. Preach, bro. Hey, listen, it's just I sometimes you just gotta ask people, like, look at them and be like, what are you really saying? Right? Like, what are you really saying by the words that you're using? What do you expect to happen here? Julian proving good things happen when you aggressively go after the ball, following Giddey's lead. Haize, I heard they supposed to be signing you to a 10-day contract. Yeah, no, not unless they signing me to a 10-day coaching I could come in and be the team motivator. Haize, I totally agree. People are going to think it's the player's fault for the way the team is now. They get paid to play. It's all on Jerry and Acme to make the product good on the court. Facts. That's 100% fact. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to win a chip, not be good. We need a D Rose. How do we get that? That's up to the front office to figure out. That's up to the front office to figure out. Because it's not guaranteed with how they drafted that's going to happen, even if they do have more lottery odds, right? Shout out to Forrest Phillips, Julian Phillips' cousin in the building, says, Haize, why did you entertain the non-common folk on here? Hey, man, it is what it is, bro. You got to take the good with the bad, fam. Outside Wemby, who was a once-in-a-generation freak, has the number one pick been that far away, best player in the draft class? Anthony Edwards, right? He was number one overall, if I'm not mistaken, right? So I think he's clearly the best player in that draft class. I have to go draft by draft because I off the top of my head, I don't remember like who was the Risha Share definitely isn't necessarily the clear cut best player, but it's the first year. You got to see how that's going to go. Who's the number one pick the year before that? I have to go back. I have to go back and look at it year by year. But that's a great question, though. That's a great mailbag question. Do you think Billy will bench Vooch in the remaining games if he plays like this next game? I would hope that he'd be open to it. Right? All is fair. You bench Pat for less. You've benched Patrick Williams for less. Right? Now, I get it. Patrick Williams is a very different as far as the years and stuff that he's been in the NBA, but you've benched Patrick Williams for less. If you get Newell or Queen in this draft, we good next season. I don't care about flag. Oh, listen, if we can get Derek Queen or Asa Newell, I agree with you. I like either one of those guys. I love Derek Queen's motor. I like Asa Newell's motor too, and Asa Newell has a little bit more legit NBA length, right? But Derek Queen is just that. He's just that guy that just his motor is just ridiculous. I know that there's some height limitations and things like that, but like and he's not an above the rim player. But when you just watch Derek Queen play the game of basketball, man, that's just that guy's just a monster. He's just a monster. Charles in the building says, man, love the way the Bulls showing heart for real. Good job with the podcast, Haize. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Hard watch tonight. Not the usual quick rebound or flow. Honestly, feel like we would have won by 30 points if Giddey was on the floor. Or if we negative 50 defensive points when Vooch was on the court. Negative 50. What are we doing? What are we doing? If we had a Wemby, SGA, Giannis type player on this team with the role players that we have, we would be a top 5 seed, maybe number 6. Oh, completely agree with you. Here's and listen, this is going to piss some people off. Follow me here. If you put Zach LaVine back on this team, but you keep Tre Jones, let's say you replace Zach LaVine with Kevin Huerter, but you keep Tre Jones, keep Zach Collins as your starting center with Giddey the way he's playing now, motherfucker, we may be a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. And I mean as far as Zach LaVine in the style of player he is, meaning a player that can go out there and get you a bucket whenever you need one, that could be a high efficiency scorer, right? I that's what I mean. Not necessarily Zach LaVine himself, because he has some big defensive limitations and there's some selfishness sometimes in there, which I think he showed this year. He's not really a selfish player, but yeah. If Brooklyn offers Giddey's 5-year, $150 million deal, I'd be fine letting him walk and signing Tre to a 4-year, $60 million deal. Here's the thing. Tre Jones is not the caliber of player that Josh Giddey can be, right? And I get in seeing performance like this. I still think Giddey has more upside than Tre, but I get why you're saying that, right? I get why you're saying that. I'm glad Vooch didn't play the fourth, bro. Don't look too engaged. If Vooch would have played in the fourth quarter today, we would have lost this basketball game. So, that's what it is there, man. But all right, y'all. I thank y'all for tuning in, man. You guys are amazing. Thank you for being the best audience in all of YouTube, all of podcasting. I can't stress enough how much you know what it is, real talk, right? And us getting through, I always get a little sentimental towards the end of the season because I know I'm not going to see a lot of y'all unless there's like live streams during the season when breaking news happens. I want to be clear here, right? You guys embrace me for me, right? And I don't take that for granted, right? And I don't want to make this sappy or anything like that. I don't have emotions. But real talk, not everybody is embraced for being 100% them. I'm 100% me on this show, meaning that my ups, my downs, me going off, me cursing people out, me getting excited, me getting pissed off, me being down, right, about a basketball team. And I never would have thought when I started this show legitimately, I literally said the reason why I kicked this show around for almost 3 years, I had the name, I had the logo for 3 years, not the one you see now, their initial logo, for 3 years, and never started this show because I'm like, who's going to want to listen to me? I'm not an insider. I don't have sources, right? But the way that you guys have embraced me for me, I see a lot. And, there's a lot of people in this game who aren't their genuine selves, right? I can't do this. I could not do this every day if I wasn't able to be 100% me. And every season, you guys show out and embrace me for me. Of course, there's some trolls, there's some people, whatever else. But almost 4 years, you guys have embraced me for me. I appreciate you guys so much, man. Y'all show love to my son when he pops up. Y'all call him your podcast nephew. Y'all are part of the family, and I truly mean that. We're going to get through this, man. I appreciate y'all. You make sure you guys are following us at Bull Central Pod. You send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, but that's thanks to you lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.